on the screen. I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to get on in here. Let me play this little, there we go. 2-minute timer has been started. Welcome you guys. My name is Ben Hartley. If you could do me a favor and say hi to me, it would really mean a lot. It's a simple thing, but your comments are why I make live videos. It's that way while I'm here sharing whatever's on my heart or my mind, that I can actually not just actually see, I could feel your response in it. And so, hey Lexi, thank you for being here. I am using a different software and it has stripped away usernames. I think it's a privacy thing. And so if you do want to add who left the comment, you can go ahead and just do a little dash here, just like Lexi did. Bro, from a straight man, you are looking fine today. Hey, I appreciate that as well. I can receive that compliment without any judgment or worry. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you're catching the replay, go ahead and type replay as well. I pay attention to everyone who's catching the replays here in this community. The reason I do these live videos Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays to help you guys grow. And a lot of my time on these videos is really spent in self-development, is really spent on mindset and ideas that are outside of the typical photography business growth tactics. There's a lot of conversation around there. There's a lot of courses. There's a lot of podcast episodes, all kinds of opportunity to be learning that kind of stuff. I really want to create a space here where we can maybe have a level of a conversation that's one level higher. Because what I've noticed in my own life is that when I know all the right things to do, I seem to wake up every morning and then go fuck it up again. I say it rather harshly like that, just because it's like wherever you go, there you are. And you can have all the right things to do. I can know what to post on Instagram, sure, but I seem to keep getting in my own way, don't I? Like when I go to post or when I go to create a schedule or like who would I need to be someone who posted actually consistently? And so during Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I really want to be having a lot of these conversations around mindset and self-development, because I think that's where the greatest return on your investment is actually going to be. I think I can make the biggest impact here. And so, oh my goodness, we're past a 2-minute clock timer. And so I'm going to close that out. My man, how's the fitness journey going? Alex, I worked out today. I still need to do a couple more planks. So that's my commitment. It was when I end this video, I still got to do a few more planks here for corporate. I've been working out each morning. I've been staying strong with it. Hey, finally made it to a live. Awesome. Life has been crazy and I've missed several. Happy to be here. Hey, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. So I want to talk about this life hack on pretty much how to improve in anything in your business, in your life, and so this is something that I was always aware of it. I think particularly, I got an art degree in school. I studied fine art. And one of the things that you do when you get an art degree is pretty much every class either starts or ends with a critique, right? With a critique where you present your work to the students and then you receive feedback, right? You receive criticism, you receive a critique. And so I've always been exposed to this conversation around feedback, but it never actually, I never actually allowed it to make a difference in my life until about 3 years ago when I got trained as a transformational coach. And so I was out in Santa Rosa, California, and I was studying with my mentor, Dan Tacchini, and I had just got done coaching, terrified by the way, coaching my coach's daughter. Now just imagine this for a second. Like, I don't know who that would be for you, but like, it'd be like maybe, and this isn't true for everyone. It's all good. I'm just going to try to give you an analogy here. Like imagine maybe your photography, like idol, whoever that is, the person, maybe it's like Jerry Gajonas, Robert Venezuela, Vanessa Joy. Maybe it's me. I don't know. It doesn't have to be, but like imagine that person and imagine now that you've been asked to take photographs of their family, okay? Imagine the pressure that is on you in that environment right now. Well, this was me. I've got my mentor. I've got this man who I've looked up to, Dan, and I was assigned to coach his daughter. Now, Dan watched the whole thing. And so he watched me actually coach his daughter, and then he offered up feedback for me. And so what I want to share with you is the feedback that was offered up in terms of the model of feedback. And then I'm going to offer to you guys a really powerful way to approach feedback, because feedback is the thing that allows you to catch the blind spots in your life. Feedback is the life hack, because otherwise you will continue to operate your life only working on everything that you know you don't know. Or you'll be too scared to even consider that, because you'd be too scared to, God forbid, fail, that you'll just continue to work on all the things that you're already fucking good at. And I know we do this, right? It's like I'm too scared to actually fail at anything, so I'll just keep doubling down on off-camera flash, or I'll just keep doubling down on whatever it is. And again, otherwise, it's like, well, I know that I don't know jack about Facebook ads. I know I don't know anything about how to communicate over the phone, and so I'm going to focus my energy there. But what feedback allows for you to begin to become aware of the things that you don't know. And that is where the real growth happens in life, when we can start to become more self-aware through these things. Feedback is, honestly, it's one of the only ways that you're going to create this stuff. And the really cool thing about feedback is you can seek it out. You can invite this type of opportunity into your life. And there's a way to do that. And that's what I want to share with you today. And so I got done coaching his daughter, Dan's daughter. And Dan started off the conversation after my time coaching his daughter, which was terrifying again. And he says, Ben, first off, what worked? What worked for you in this conversation? He asked me for myself. He asked me to give myself feedback in the moment. So he didn't start by criticizing. He first started by inviting myself into offering feedback to myself with what worked. Let's start with a little honey. Before we start trying to offer, and this is where it usually gets turned into criticism, and criticism is often turns into defensiveness, right? And so instead of criticizing, and instead of inviting someone to criticize themselves, he invited me to get curious about what worked for me. And it was a really great way to allow me to step into the feedback. And so what worked? He asked me, Ben, what worked for me? Now, I had very few things on my list of what worked for me in that conversation. Again, nerves were high. Everything was just like, oh my goodness. But he asked me what worked. And then he gave me an opportunity to identify first what did not work. But he asked me that. So it allowed me to step into the space that I got to first own. Hey, I know that this didn't work. And when he created space for me to own that, and again, it allowed me to take my guard down. It allowed for me to kind of call one on myself. And it was a really empowering thing. And then he invited me into this next question. Okay, Ben, what worked? What did not work? Now, for the bullshit that did not work, Hartley, what's wanted and what is needed from you for the next time? What do you need to work on? Who do you need to be? What things do you need to carry into this next conversation? What's your tone need to be, your energy, your posture? Where do you need to brush up on? Is there a book you need to read? Is there an understanding that you need to gather more of? Is it simply just that you need to be more quiet and just listen more? Do you need to speak less? He invited me to get curious about what's wanted and needed from me. Okay? Now, he did all of that before offering that same degree of feedback to myself. What worked? What didn't work? What's wanted and needed? Now, the next part of this whole thing is a practice that I've been really working on, and I don't have it figured out, but I've been really working on this, because with feedback, I asked you guys in the group. I made a post here on my personal page, and I shared it into the community. I shared this. I said, where, in what area of your life are you most resistant to receiving feedback on? I'm curious about that. In what area of your life are you most resistant to receiving feedback on? I believe that there's probably a lot there. There's probably a ton of growth there. Okay, there's all kinds of opportunity. I'm going to share with you guys an area of my life that I've been most resistant to feedback, and then some of the feedback that I've received in regards to this, and really direct advice. I try to not offer too much advice in these type of videos, but I'm going to offer some. And so for the last week or so, I've been wrestling with exhaustion, and I don't know if I'm sick or what's going on. My wife and I, we've been disconnected. We've been at odds with one another, and maybe there's been a degree of stress and exhaustion that's come from that. I don't know, but I know that it has overflowed itself into me becoming pretty much all week incredibly short. Anger outbursts, short with my kids, yelling, unnecessary discipline in my house, and rather like popping off, right? Like an outburst, and so this has been going on for the last week, and it kind of culminated last night in an episode where my youngest boy stole my daughter's toothbrush. And I'm thinking I'm not raising no thief. These are the thoughts that are going, and I popped off, right? And I realized after I went off the hinges here, like I need to check in with myself. I need to get curious about what's going on here, because when my wife started to offer feedback, or even I made up that she was offering feedback, how resistant I became to it, how much my ego flared up, and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to see it. I was resisting it. And so I started to get really curious about, man, why am I resisting this feedback so much? What's there? Dan, my mentor, he's been teaching me, and this is what I want to share with you guys, how to become radically open and radically transparent with your feedback. Radically open and radically transparent. And this is what that means. And this is really for the people that are closest to you. So this would be a radical transparency and a radical openness. This is really for the people that are absolutely closest to you. So this would be your wife. How would you become radically open and radically transparent? I'm going to define these terms in a moment. Maybe with your wife or your kids or a business partner, the people who are in your tightest sphere. And this is what Dan means when he told me radical openness and radical transparency. Radical transparency is to be willing to say the thing that you are most scared to say. That's radical transparency. So often in our marriages and in our business partnerships and in our relationships with the people that we say matter most to us, we are unwilling to say the things that probably need to be said. There's too much on the line almost. I'm too scared to say that. I can't say that, right? Radical transparency is being willing to say the thing that you're most scared to say, and radical openness, or rather being willing to say the thing that you least want to say. But there's another side of the coin, and that's radical openness. Radical openness means being willing to hear the thing that you least want to hear. And you can't have one without the other, because one without the other, you're either an asshole or you're a punching bag. Right? And so it takes courage to step into this space. It takes strength to step into this space, to actually be willing to say the things that you least want to say, but then also being willing to hear the things that you least want to hear. And so I'll share with you a way that this has shown itself in my life. Was this morning as I was driving my boys to school. I'm thinking about how I've showed up for them this week. And so they're only 4 PS, by the way. And so And so as we're driving to school, one of the things that I least want to hear is the thing that I knew I least had to say, which is I decided to ask my boys, how can I be better for them? In what ways can I be a better dad for them? I'm looking for that feedback. I'm looking for those blind spots. I'm looking to hear the thing that I least want to hear and to open up that conversation. And so I said, hey, man, I've been yelling a lot lately. I got angry with you guys last night and the night before and the night before. I want to know I want to know the thing that I least want to know. I didn't say that to them, but this is what's going on in my head. And so how can I be a better father for you? Radical openness is being willing to hear the thing that you least want to hear. And they told me, I mean, even at 4 years old, Colton told me straight up, he says, and I love the way he said it, I would like you to wait before you yell at me, which actually in a 4-year-old's mind, it makes a lot of sense. But to me, it's like, I took that as like, I should probably give myself some space. I should probably take a deep breath. I should probably separate myself before I make things worse, right? It was a beautiful way that he said it. I'd like you to wait before you yell at me. Yeah, and then he has a twin brother, Alex. His twin brother, Alex, in the background just says, yeah, don't yell at me. Now, but it's exactly what I needed to hear. Right. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Feedback is an opportunity to notice the blind spots in your life and a radical openness and a radical transparency. And if you don't have relationships in your life that you feel like you can be radically transparent, a mutual trust, that's a space. I mean, that's a space waiting for you. That's an opportunity waiting for you to learn a whole lot more about yourself and to step in to some beautifully complex relationships. And there's only upside on that. So there's a quote that says, "In the cave that you least want to enter lies the treasure that you seek. In the conversation that you least want to have, in the thing that you least want to say, lies the treasure that you seek." So many of us, there's things that are getting in the way. There's limiting beliefs, there's blocks, and it's always interesting to me how that can get unlocked by saying the things that we least want to say and being willing to hear the things that we least want to hear. And if you approach these things with curiosity, it's really hard to get angry and it's really hard to get defensive. If you can approach these things with, I wonder what's going on for me there. I wonder why I keep fleeing from this. I wonder why I keep popping off at the hinges. I wonder why I don't want to hear that. If I can stay in a position of curiosity, it'll overwhelm the anxiety and the anger. If I can just get curious about this, I wonder what's going on for me there. You guys, thanks for being in the space with me today. Thanks for allowing me to share this story and these things that I'm wrestling with. One of my aims for this group is for me to be able to use this space as an opportunity just to share what I'm in, like in all the complexity and not as a space that I have it all figured out, but just to invite you and alongside me as I'm working on myself. And so appreciate you guys. Yeah. Someone said, is there any advice when that other person isn't in that space? Well, I really do believe that the best thing that you can do for somebody else is to work on yourself. And so I don't believe that another person needs to be in that space. The best thing that you can do for another person is to work on yourself. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to work on yourself. So cheers, you guys. Full heart for you. Bye, everyone.